Hello, gorgeous souls out there. Thank you for chiming in with me, Shia, out of Sarasota, Florida, your friendly Tantra specialist of 18 years full time. I have done a lot of Tantra sessions and a lot of coaching. And so I thought I would peer into the experience of what would my recommendation be if I were to try to be a man in today's world and do the transition from getting to know a female partner into moving it to a romantic expression, how would I consciously do that? So if I were a man these days, I think it's really good to have those sexual conversations before you even get to the bedroom so that it's well talked out and there's a kind of almost like a foundation that's been laid already as to, and it can be so fun to talk about. I mean, it's really sexy to talk about. So, make it into a game where you're asking each other about what you like. And of course, don't do this conversation too early when you meet somebody, because I know men who just start talking about sex right away. And it's like, you know, I, I think you need to get to know me first. If you're not really interested in me personally, in connecting with me, and you're just wanting sex and you don't really care what the woman's like so much and you just need a warm body, then I'm out. So, you need to go through the process of getting to know the woman and seeing if she's truly a good match for you. Otherwise, she's going to just know that you're kind of just got sex on the mind and you're just hoping that she will engage with you. And I know if you really want a conscious woman who's got more to offer, then you're going to have to get to know her and really delve into a deeper space, I guess, than a superficial space. I personally am not interested in superficial spaces and engaging in sex unconsciously. I think that's the big difference between like how sex was meant to be experienced versus maybe an unconscious version, because love is supposed to be involved if it's really gonna like reach the heights that it's capable of. And so sex without love gets old really fast and boring, I think, because I just know there's so much more, and there needs to be some kind of connection where you know the person well enough. Like I guess the age old thing is, gosh, do you know what your partner's favorite color is? Or do you know what color your date's eyes are? Are you just missing these basic things? Because then it's really shows that you're not being present. So anyway, getting to know each other first is what my point was. And then when you get to the point where, hey, we could start talking about sex as far as laying the foundation. And I was surprised when I took sex off the table, and just kind of let men know when they started dating me, hey, we are taking sex off the table for this first month. We're just going to lay the foundation. They actually were relieved, because I think there's a certain amount of pressure that, men and women feel, performance pressure and, gosh, am I going to do this right? And most of the time we're not setting ourselves up for success, because we may not even be discussing sex at all and what works for us, what we like, what we don't like. And we're just guessing, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is so, it's so risky, I guess. And so it's good to have a conversation around, STDs even, or are we going to use a condom? Are we going to use a timing method? Or, practical things like that. Like, are you on birth control? And please don't be, because it tricks your body into thinking that it's pregnant for months on end, and it takes away your libido. But you also have to be wise. And I suggest there's so many great apps now about your being able to track your timing of your cycle so that you can know when your ovulation happens and just not engage all the way on those days. It's not that big a deal. There's also some natural ways that you can prevent pregnancy that really aren't out there yet, and you can coach with me around that if you're interested. These are such simple solutions, even like how to enlarge or minimize your breast size. It's a Taoist technique, but it's hidden, I found it in a book that is not published anymore. So, like some of these ancient, and that's what Tantra is, these ancient techniques and secrets that got kind of hidden and even suppressed so that we wouldn't be as empowered as we can be. But we're reclaiming them now, and that's why you're listening to me. So, where was I? Okay, so if we go back to like how I would handle a situation if I was the man, it's getting to know her, having all the sexual discussions, even talking about, are there toys that you like to use at all or have experience with? Or have you ever experienced, playing with the back door, prostate area? Do you have a favorite position that you like? Do you like to role play? Or, just all these fun things that we can talk about beforehand so that we really know our partner and are set up for success, that we've set each other up for success in engaging. And so then you make it about her. Otherwise, if you make it about you guys, then that's why she bails at a certain point or just isn't into it and isn't really enjoying it as much as she could. I know for me, I would be able to tell if a man was truly connecting with me or not, and would just prevent the whole sexual part from happening altogether, because I can read him and his intentions. Not everyone's able to do that. And sometimes women will be with you because of your status or your money or whatever. She's just ignorant, maybe naive to that there's so much better out there for her or whatever. But you're going to make it about her, because then she'll be on board, right? If you may give her a lot of pleasure and a lot of orgasms, then how can she say no to that? I would say the majority of the men that come in for sessions, it's because their wives are, usually they're older, like past menopause age range, right? That's the majority of the men that come in for sessions, because their wife has left them in the dust, but for good reason, because it hasn't been about her. It's not very fun for her. She's sick of it. She put up with it for years and she's done. That's being very blunt, right? But you guys need to hear that. If you make it about her and you're giving her lots of pleasure and putting her first, she orgasms first. She's having true orgasms because you're engaging with her on a deep enough level to bring her to that place. She's going to be on board. But if you're not doing that, like you get this. If you weren't getting your orgasms and you weren't getting pleasure and you were feeling rushed, you wouldn't be into it either. It's just abusive. It's neglectful. So we're not putting up with that anymore. So that means you guys really light up by being able to bring a woman so much pleasure and joy, because, that means you're good at what you're doing. And it's really good to be able to get in tune with her body language, to read the signs of her body when it's maybe tensing or if it's opening. And if you guys are good communicators, which I know that's a skill and it takes some time to develop that. It took me years of developing that through nonviolent communication or the conscious communication movement that is out there now, and you have to seek it out. I was blessed in Maui. We had like literally groups that met in person and we got to practice weekly, and it was so effective. And I can, of course, coach around this if you want that, because how to share difficult information effectively is a huge skill set. Like, what do you do when you're triggered? What do you do when you don't know how to communicate something that they probably don't want to hear. There's definitely ways to do that so that it lands well and can be heard by them. So you're not just constantly triggering each other. Okay, so back to how it would be with a woman. So you slow everything down, and that's the beauty of sex, is you're getting in your body instead of your mind. You're kind of letting your mind calm, and you're getting fully embodied. And women get turned on from the head down. So you're going through like almost like different gates. Her chakras or her gates get opened up as you kiss her, because her lips are actually attached all the way down to her vulva, and it starts to get things flowing down there and waking up down there when you're up here. So if you're skipping kissing, it's just not as good. It just doesn't quite prepare her for what's coming. Then, there's like necking and making out, and there's her breasts, and then there's her belly, and then you're moving down, and then, there's a lot going on down there with her, right? There's all kinds of folds and nooks and crannies, and, just play, explore, and have her, respond like when it feels really good or when it doesn't feel so good. She might even have some pain or soreness or whatever, and you can kind of hold space for that and just put some pressure, loving pressure on it until it subsides, and have her breathe and release it. And then it's fine. It's not rocket science necessarily, right? Just like bringing some presence and love and some massage or just pressure onto these places that need some attention. And, of course, asking a lot of questions helps, because every woman's different. Some women like it the opposite of the next woman. So that's where you get to be like an investigator, guys, or, a spy or something to, figure out how this woman's rigged. And that's going to be fun. And so there's this concept that I know that if I were to be a man in the situation, that the more I give and open her up, the more that reciprocates. And, being a good communicator is a big part of being a good lover. I know that so many things go awry because one or both couples just don't know how to communicate effectively. And I'm so grateful that I feel that I can do that at this point in time, because I find that, those typical men that come in most of the time, the majority of, like I said, the clients that come in are a little bit older gentlemen, like of the older generation than I am, like my parents' generation. They just don't have the communication skills. They don't talk about it. They've been just hush hush or religious about their sexuality, and it's, you can't move forward and get through to the other side like that. You have to be able to say, men, say for instance, I was in this situation, perhaps if I was a man in that my typical client situation, because I'm helping them, to get their to learn some stuff to get their partner back on board, that make it more interesting for their partner, and to enroll their partner back into this being a good experience. And I show them how they can do a session with her, how they can mimic what I'm showing them and bring it home. And so I guess where I'm going with this is, if I were a man and I felt like I was being neglected because my wife was, past menopause and not into it anymore, I'd just say, honey, I have 10 to 30 times more testosterone than you do. And I'm not able to just shut it down like you can, perhaps, because women are able to do that a little easier, especially if they're not getting their needs met in the bedroom. And what can we do to make this more enjoyable for you so that we can continue to engage in intimacy? Because I'm not able to just drop that and pretend it's not there. As a man, my body is rigged to enjoy this, and it is part of what makes men so happy and feel fulfilled with their partner. And I'm not willing to just walk away from it. That's not realistic. So we need to find a way um, to make this work for both of us. And that's when hopefully she would speak up and say, well, if I got a massage every time and then we had sex, I could get on board with that and I would look forward to it. So that might be one answer. Or maybe she would say, I really need to have orgasm every time, and that would help me get on board with it. I need to really drop into some pleasure, and that would be motivating. That might be another answer. Another answer might be, I'm just not sure I can do that. I'm not sure how to, and that might be where we need to go to counseling, or to someone like me, a Tantra practitioner that can help and, kind of get to the bottom of things, right? Another answer might be, you know what? I am so okay with you going and seeing a Tantra practitioner, getting Tantra sessions, or going to get sensual massage or a happy ending somewhere because I know I'm not going to be able to keep up with you. That might be someone else's answer. And of course, the reason why I like Tantra practitioners like myself is we actually can teach you some skills and get you to be a better lover, to hopefully enroll her back in, or at least you will have a more quality experience, because I've heard some horror stories of men just not feeling comfortable with, I guess, the same kind of situation, basically, where, the person who's supposed to give you a happy ending is just rushing it and doesn't really care about you, and you're just feeling like, that didn't really do it. Whereas a Tantra practitioner is going to be more conscious. Hopefully she's a high priestess, she's embodied and is really there to serve you and elevate you to the next level of your consciousness and of your evolution, especially in the bedroom arts, and where you can experience true connection and intimacy. Because really, most of the time when men are coming in, they're just needing true connection, like some intimate connection, whether there's sex involved or not. And of course, I don't have sex with my clients. It's more showing them techniques, doing some sensual massage, educating them, preparing them for all the things that they can bring home to do with their partner. And that way, we can move the needle closer to some success, with more couples being satisfied, instead of, the guy just often feels, I'm finding, just left out, left behind, and like he's going, well, I don't want to have an affair, so I think I'll just go in and, to a Tantra practitioner, which is actually a wise move, I think. And usually their wives do not know about it, because if they're Christian or something, they're going to have programming around what that means, and they're going to make it wrong. And it's unfortunate. Anyway, I think that's what I would like to share with you today. So may you have a loving, supportive, tantric relationship, or manifest that if that's what you're wanting. And I totally support that and activate that with you.